You never met a man like me. You wouldn't understand. I'm in a rock and roll business, honey. Well, I'm in a rock and roll band.
Do it.
Now, right. We're fucking on. Good morning.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Rockstar Fitness Podcast, proudly in association with Fat Loss Fat Lane. And you'll find my co-host here, Mr. Robb McGeary, a man who needs no introduction. However, I will introduce him. He used to have hair.
Out of choice.
He used to have hair, and now looks like Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. I'm James Prune, and today we're going to be talking about calorie deficits and carbohydrates. But before we start, my mug says Mr. Strong.
Mine's, I can't even pronounce it. I've never even heard of it. Some probiotic, active probiotic, Urca Flora. Never heard of it. Never seen it in the shops. No idea where the mug came from.
It's unique. That's for sure.
Might have to have a Google later and see.
Right. So you wrote, you put a post on Instagram today, in fact, that talked about you can eat carbs and not be in the deficit of an 8-year-old girl, or a deficit that would relate to an 8-year-old girl. Pretty legit. Like, no arguments from me. I'm fucking totally on board with that. We get this a lot, right? Everybody's still on the no carbs or low carbs is the only way, and putting people on stupidly low calories, and I mean it's not cool. It's not cool, especially if that's what you end up doing as your ongoing sort of process. Process. It's bullshit. It's starvation. So, I mean, what prompted you to post that? Let's just ask that. Let's get into that.
Kind of a continuation of getting triggered by Boris the other day by his little video.
We can definitely talk about that because that's fucking brilliant. We'll get into that after.
The fact that he's lost a lot of weight by his standards without saying a number, by cutting out carbs and not eating cheese at night. And obviously that's a message that goes out to however many people follow him on Twitter or however many people share the message.
And don't eat cheese. It's simple.
Simple.
It's real simple.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I would take offense to in his message is that he started running, which is not something I would get people to rush out and start doing. Can't remember the last time I ran.
Put this in context, right? Boris is what, 65, I think. He's about that.
Yeah.
He might be. Do you know what? He might be younger. I might be wrong. I might be doing you wrong, Boris. I think he might be younger than that. So he's the
athleticism of.
But let's take this as it is, right? He's not a young man. He's carrying significant additional poundage, right? And he started running. His joints must fucking love him.
I bet, man. I bet it's going to be. He's 56. It was close. He's no spring.
Just reversed it. I added 9 years, Boris. I'm sorry. I apologize. I stand corrected. You're not that old. But yeah, I mean, 56, and you start running, and he's got to be what? I mean, he's a big dude.
I believe, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I believe he was 17 stone when he went into hospital.
For anybody that's not, listening in old money, that's a lot.
That's a very fucking amount.
That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, that tells you. I mean, he's probably about 2 stone lighter than that, which is 28 pounds lighter than that, and still that still leaves him quite heavy. That still leaves him, well over 200 pounds body weight, which is obviously, as we know, quite a bit. And to start running, why not start going out for a few brisk walks? Let's maybe crawl before we decide to fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Boris is going for the nuclear option again. Nuclear option on his joints, fuck's sake. That's not to say there's anything wrong with running, boys and girls. It's just, horses for courses. If you're just starting a journey of fat loss and you're significantly heavy and perhaps very deconditioned because you haven't done any exercise or activity since the Thatcher government was in power, then the chances are it's probably not a good idea to do something that's going to have quite that much impact on your joints. Might be a better idea to think about increasing your walking first. Easing yourself in.
Simple things.
Simple things. Just avoid the carbs and cheese and go for a run.
Yeah.
Fucking hell yeah.
And you too can look like Boris. Who knows?
You too. But that kind of leads us on to talking about the other things that, that this money that he's promising is going to be spent on. I've got a very, very real fear that this is mostly going to be spent on medical interventions such as drug interventions and surgical interventions that are probably not really necessary. I mean, have you watched things like My 600 Pound Life?
I only saw the Boris video because someone sent it to me direct. I avoid as much of this stuff as I possibly can.
All right. So this is the thing, right? My other half, Victoria, she's obsessed with it. Yeah. And so I have to watch it. But it's one of the few things that I do have to watch. 9 times out of 10, she's watching some World War II documentary that I'm making her sit through and suffer. Because I'm over 35, and that's what over 35-year-old men are into. World War II, World War One, fuck all else. Oh. So I watch it with her, and the guy that's on the show is a doctor, Dr. Nowzarian. Dr. Nowzarian. He's brilliant. He's absolutely fantastic. He is literally just the bluntest human being. They come on, they're like, I don't know why I haven't lost weight, and he'll be like, because you're cheating on your diet. It's that simple. Everybody gets the same 1,200 calorie diet, right? Regardless, like everybody, it's all high protein. Like it's like a PSMF diet, right? So it's for medical sort of interventions into obesity. Yeah. So he puts them on the same diet. Now these people, he makes them lose hundreds of pounds before giving them surgery. Hundreds of pounds, right? I mean, it's very, very rare that you see anybody go on this show that hasn't had to lose at least 200 pounds. And some of them considerably more. Some of them are losing like 300 pounds.
Jesus.
But that's just under 1.5 of me.
Yeah.
And they lose this weight and then they get surgery.
And then they get a surgery.
Hang on. It's working.
Yeah.
The weight loss is working. The thing that you say you can't do and you can't stick to and you need surgery for is working without the surgery. Why get the surgery? Why have an invasive procedure? Now, again, there's a lot of psychological issues that can go into this as well. And I'm not, there's no fat shaming here, right? I have a hard time getting my head around the fact that these people are successfully losing weight, successfully approaching a healthier position. And, and when things are going really, really well, they have a surgery to try and, take things up a notch. I don't know.
That's where it loses me. I would have thought the amount they're losing, they would be building the habits and the mindset and the psychology. That would all be put in place to work. Like you say, it's working. It's working. So why stop and then do something invasive? Very fucking invasive. You're putting a foreign object in your body.
Quite dangerous. I mean,
yeah.
especially when you're like, you know, the reason that they're being asked to lose hundreds of pounds is because they are, you know, the more pounds above your median normal body weight for a given height, the more at risk you are of dying on the, you know, surgery table.
Yeah.
But this is kind of where I'm at with it, is that these people lose hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and these are the ones that, you know, most medical professionals would look at as lost causes, and they have to have bariatric surgery. He makes them lose hundreds of pounds before he gives them the surgery.
Yeah, no.
So it just to me it suggests that there's more options out there than just the let's get them in a hospital, let's get them a gastric sleeve, you know, or let's just cut out entire food groups and pretend that that's the way. That doesn't teach you jack shit. What does that teach you? It teaches you, you know, you have to spend your life without enjoyment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck that.
Jesus Christ! We need to get rid of this relation. And calorie counting is a powerful tool. We need to get rid of this relationship that food is a number or something that needs to be constantly tracked and weighed and measured. Like the PSMF diet is obviously working for those guys, but then they've got an excess amount of body fat that can
Huge.
Keep them fueled through everything they're doing anyway. Does a regular person that needs to lose, you know, maybe 10 kilos need to jump on that? No, of course not.
Look, I mean, there's a lot to be said for the fact that by removing carbohydrates from the diet, these obviously super morbidly obese people are actually removing trigger foods that cause them to then go looking for more.
Exactly.
So there's that. But I think, I don't know, man. I think tracking your calories and having an idea of what's going in, even if it is just a broad sort of idea of what's going in, means that you're being kind of sensible about, you know, your energy balance, right? It's the same as looking at, you know, you wouldn't complain about somebody balancing their checkbook, you know. Just fiscally prudent. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't do it, but you know, no. I mean, look, I if I'm just trying to stay the same weight, or I'm just trying to maintain my body mass, I don't track calories. I eat according to my appetite, and that tends to, because I've been at the body weight I'm at for a while. You know, your body wants to stay there. You know, it doesn't want to push past that if you follow your appetite, if you have a good relationship with food, and if you have, you know, the sort of understanding, or the sort of relationship with your own body, that you can tell when you're actually hungry and not just bored or emotional or thirsty, or it's a Thursday, you know. There's a difference, and I think that's a huge thing as well, man. Just knowing the difference between I'm hungry or I'm bored, you know.
Exactly.
And I can do that, but when I want to try and get bigger, I'm trying to grow, or when I want to try and get leaner, I absolutely track everything. Like, I need to know, because if I, you know, I have a very inefficient metabolism. If I'm trying to get bigger and I miss meals, I'll lose weight, you know. Like, I'm pushing for weeks now, weeks and weeks and weeks, and gain a couple of pounds, and then I'll fall asleep, miss my last meal, and wake up 5 pounds later. Fuck, where did it go? Well, it's that bad. And when I'm trying to get lean, it's just making sure that the boxes are ticked.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a difference. I'm not trying to get, you know, a couple of pounds off to look a little bit better to go to a wedding, or to look a little bit better to go on the beach. I'm looking at obviously trying to get as lean as humanly possible.
Yeah.
It's a bit different.
Yeah, totally. And it's an amazing tool, and it makes people aware who have not been aware before. They've either followed a dogmatic approach, like Weight Watchers or whatever, or or their mate who told them, just eat fucking low-fat yogurt and oats for 28 days. They'll drop weight, but they'll never learn about themselves.
And that's the thing about it, right? If you track what you're taking in and you pay attention to what it is, you learn what it's doing for your body, especially if you're paying attention to the other end of things, as in what's my weight doing, what are my circumference measurements doing, how do I look? These things go hand in hand, and it gives people quite a bit of power. I mean, it gives, if you know that I can eat, say for instance, I can eat 2,500 calories, average male intake, right? 2,500 calories, and I won't gain weight, right? You have a certain amount of protein that you eat that is governed by your needs, and then everything else is kind of up in the air. You can flex it. Some days you can higher fat, some days you're higher carb, but just flex it to certain and meet your needs. And if you can do that, then on the days that you want a fucking Mars bar, have a Mars bar.
Fucking Mars bar, yeah.
Because let's be honest, who doesn't like a Mars bar?
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot can be said for kind of intuitive eating as well. I mean, like I said, when I'm not trying to get bigger or trying to get leaner, that's kind of the approach I take. I eat my appetite, and that stands me in pretty good stead. I mean, the whole way through the first lockdown where we weren't able to train, I didn't gain a pound, nothing. I ate according to my appetite. My appetite was lower because I was less active. I wasn't getting out and traveling into and from the city. Like, well, I mean, I'm only in Woolwich, but it's still, it's still about 8,000 steps a day that I drop by not being in and out of the city. So I'm not as active. I'm not as hungry. It's as simple as that. Didn't gain a pound. Not anything. Got a bit softer, got a little bit fluffier looking, not particularly happy about. But the second at the end of the first lockdown, the office equipment arrived, and by the time of the second lockdown, I was considerably leaner. It was a good time. It was a good time had by all. But that goes hand in hand with what I was saying, right? Eating intuitively, my body weight didn't change. My composition got a little bit shitty, but my body weight didn't change. If all you're interested in is dropping a few pounds, you don't really care about whether or not you look fantastically sexy naked, then eat intuitively and eat a bit less, a bit more. Simple, right?
It is. And that takes time, it is again, like the intuition, it's not something everyone's, well, you are kind of born with it, but it's not something everyone has because they're too busy chasing shiny objects or getting confused by how much is out there. But if you took the time to watch what you're eating, whether you track calories or not, to watch what you're eating, learn what a decent, nutritious meal looks like, how you can get extra things in that you want to get in, that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Look at what that does to your body through scales, circumference measurements, photos, how your clothes are fitting. That's how you learn. It's not going to be done in a week. Might not even be done in a month, depending how bad you've been beforehand. Right? You just got to suck it up and realize it might take you 3 months to learn what this intuitive eating process actually is. But that's a life skill that you've got then.
It's the same as the flexible dieting thing, right? You kind of have to start off with a very strict approach and earn the right to have flexibility.
100%.
The same as your training, right? You can't go into the gym on day one and be like, right, I have never bench pressed before, 150 kilos, let's go.
Yeah.
3 and a bit plates aside, I got this. Watch me not die. You're not going to do it, right? You're going to walk in and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to start off with just the bar and see how that feels, and work your way up until you get to a point where, okay, this is a very challenging RM, whatever you're aiming for, and you stay there until you earn the right to progress by slowly but surely getting stronger, adding small incremental amounts over time, adding small incremental amounts of flexibility into your diet over time, so that you might start off with one meal per week that's a bit more flexible, And
Mhm.
by week 7, you've got an entire diet that you can flex as and when you need to, that works for you. And you're not sitting around going, shit, did I have my post-workout protein shake? Because if I didn't, all gains are lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the way the human body really works.
Yeah.
It's really simple. It's a game of averages. We keep coming back to this, right? It's a game of averages. If you nail the averages, then you'll be where you need to be, or where you want to be. If you're not nailing the averages, if you're not losing weight, if you're not losing body fat, then you're just simply not in a calorie deficit. Either move more to create more output, or eat a bit less to, obviously pull yourself into that calorie deficit. Simple.
It's as simple as that. Regardless of what the bulletproof coffee guy says, it is as simple as that.
Are people still doing that?
Mate, I don't know if it's just a marketing push, if he's putting more money in Facebook ads, but I see his stuff on Facebook a lot now. And it's all, macronutrients are dumb, was a viral tweet. And yeah, something about calorie count as well. I just skimmed past.
A lot of this is just clickbait nonsense, right? So, I mean, so have you've done the precision nutrition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the big things that Berardi talks about is that humans eat meals, not macros. And if you're giving food plans to your clients, then you should really be giving them meals rather than sets of numbers. Because I think it's kind of, I used to say this all the time to Simon and to everybody else that listen, and now Simon's kind of adopted it as a bit of a catchphrase. But the answer is usually always in the middle, right? It's in the middle ground. It lies in between the extremes. The extremes are like, no carbs, low fat. Yeah, somewhere in the middle here,
Yeah.
Moderate amount of carbs, moderate amount of fat. Happy days, right? Same goes for pretty much anything that you can find in life. There's always a caveat to the statements that get made. Macros are dumb. Yeah, for someone that doesn't really know how they actually work, to apply that, right? But to somebody that really does and gets it, suggesting otherwise is dumb.
Yeah.
Find the middle ground. Find the middle ground.
Yeah. I think, like you said, it's all clickbaity. It probably gets people on his program or whatever he's doing now, or selling his coffee, which is just, I'm sure it's good coffee, but I prefer to spend my money on even better coffee. But it comes down to, like, you scroll through the comments and you've got his army of defenders, and they all talk about hormones are being more important than the calories and the macros that you're taking in. The hormonal environment you create is more conducive to fat loss than the macros and the calories you're taking in. Yeah, what do you think influencing those? It's spot on, but what's influencing those hormones? The fucking calories and the macros you're taking in.
Yep.
You can't influence your hormones without taking them in. Well, you can. You're going to screw everything up, but
the only thing you've got control over is what you put in your mouth. Simple as that. You can't physically decide, oh, I'm gonna pump out less insulin today. I'm gonna pump out more insulin today. Right? The only time you can actually affect your insulin levels over and above what your physiological response to carbohydrates is to exogenously introduce some insulin.
Yeah.
That's not too clever. All right. I mean, I know that it kind of happens, but your body's pretty good at doing these things for you. It does them without you having to think about it. It's the same as breathing, right? You don't have to think about breathing. It just happens.
Yeah.
Let it happen, right? If you've got a hormonal problem, you've got a hormonal imbalance, see an endocrinologist. Okay? Go and see someone that's got lots and lots of letters after their name that practices endocrinology. And they will do all the blood tests you need and tell you whether or not you have issues. Right? Exactly. You can go in armed with anecdotal information and evidence. I'm not particularly happy about XYZ. This is what things make me feel. This is how my day-to-day life is. I'm waking up with a headache every morning. I wake up at like 3, 4 a.m. most nights. I think I've got reactive hypoglycemia. Okay, cool. Let's do some blood tests.
Yeah.
You know, that might be the case, but let's do some blood tests. Let's keep an eye on you and decide whether or not that's actually the case medically. Like we can diagnose you based on your clinical presentation of symptoms after we've done some tests. Yeah. But like, why are these hormones bad? Why are these hormones that are doing what they're supposed to do in your body bad? They're not. Your behaviors are the things that are affecting these and influencing things, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my testosterone's in the toilet. But you know, I spend every weekend binge drinking and like getting very little sleep Monday to Friday because I work in a really stressful job. Okay, well, I mean, there's not a lot you can do with a stressful job. Maybe find some strategies for managing stress. Try and get more sleep. Avoid the binge drinking. Give it a few months. Check your testosterone levels again. Oh, look, they've come up a little bit. Brilliant. Must have been the coffee.
Yeah, of course.
We don't have control over these things. We are riding around in meat suits. You know, we're brains riding around in meat suits that do everything for us. You know, like driving your car, you put your foot down and it goes, right? You're not manually opening valves and changing fuel injections and doing all that stuff that happens in the background without you even thinking about it, right? Like nobody complains about their car and says, oh, you know, the fuel's not the problem, it's the environment in the engine that's meaning that I can't go faster. No, you just when I'm obviously waffling bollocks now, but you get the point.
Yeah. You want to change you want to optimize your internal environment. Your external environment is a massive factor in that. And you can take that from the middle ground, you can take that to the hippie spectrum.
Yep.
In terms of stress relief, meditation, whatever. We can keep it on this side and just look at your food, your activity level.
You can go on spirit journeys.
Yeah.
All that shit.
When things are open, that's where I'm going.
All that wacky left shit. The fact is, if you get control of your external environment, you get control over what you eat, how you sort of go about your day-to-day business and your lifestyle, and you still feel and look like a bag of crap, then it might be time to get some blood tests done, right?
Simple.
Or it might be time to give it a little bit more time to work.
Yeah.
Because new normal is usually a little bit of a jarring experience for people, you know? It's like when people go on like keto and they spend 2 weeks feeling like dog shit, and then all of a sudden they don't feel like dog shit anymore. They're like, wow, I'm so energetic. You know, you just got used to feeling like crap.
Yeah, you just got used to it.
You just got used to feeling like crap. That's all it is.
Yeah. You got keto Stockholm syndrome, as I call it. You fell in love with your kidnapper. That's who was not feeding you carbs. That's all it is.
Yeah. And then you put carbs back in and you're like, wow, life has never felt so good.
Oh, life is better with carbs.
Life is so much better. Training's better. Everything's better.
Everything's better.
Jesus Christ. I did 18 weeks of keto once to test it, right? I don't know why I had to do 18 weeks. I think there was, because I'm quite stubborn and pig-headed. When people are telling me that, you know, you can't keep going with this, surely. Yes, I can. Nobody died. So I did 18 weeks, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I got very, very lean. Calorie deficit. But I looked like a bag of crap. I mean, I just looked like I was about as flat as it's humanly possible to get. I just looked emaciated and like really, really ill, like yellow, like jaundiced, like, you know, just ill. And it was like the biggest revelation when I put the carbs back in. I'm like, oh, I feel normal again. Like I actually feel like a functioning human being. This is what it's like. You know, go through periods when you're dieting for a bodybuilding show where you're so flat and depleted that your brain's just not working properly. And I've got WhatsApp messages from days where I've decided that, you know, I'm having a refeed today. I'm going to do like 300-400 grams of carbs. And by about halfway through the day, I'm sending Victoria messages about how fast my brain's working. And I think, imagine if I was like this all the time. Well, yes. And it's just, it looks ridiculous. When you look back on it, you're like, oh man, I was in a bad place. I was in a bad place. Like, you know, seeing mathematical formula and be like,
yeah, like limitless.
Genius. No,
you know,
just
all
focus.
good carbs.
Oh man. You mentioned getting inside out lean, I think, at some point on your podcast. You wanted to beat a previous best. I'm feeling a personal challenge coming on here. I'm feeling a sort of a can we possibly peer pressure Rob into getting inside out lean?
So I respond very well to we call it peer pressure, but I'm a big if I'm going to look bad,
bullying is the best form.
Bullying works for me. Bullying always works for me. It always has done, and it always will. Like, you want me to stop being the spacker kid at school? Bully me, and I won't be. I'll be the cool kid.
Yeah.
You want me to go talk to that pretty girl over there? Bully me, and I'll go do it. Like, anytime I make an excuse, someone calls me out on it. Boom, job done. That excuse gets crushed.
Call into question your testicular fortitude, and you are the bravest man on the planet.
100%.
Brilliant.
Really is. That works every time with me. So group accountability, one-to-one accountability, public accountability, man, those are my go-to tools. If there's a job I need to get done, boom.
Happy days.
So now we go.
I'm obviously going to follow that up with what's the time frame and when's the photo shoot?
So the photo shoot. Yeah, I've mixed feelings, but I don't have mixed feelings. I want to.
You need some stuff for your Tinder profile, right?
100%. Even though I've had this conversation before about whether the topless shredded pics belong on Tinder. Now I think they do because we're peacocks at heart, and it works.
I'm gonna throw it out there, right? I did an experiment. Okay, this was way back when I was still working around Paul Street and with our good friend Mr. Whitehead, and I was very single, and so I had Tinder profile. I had some topless pics on there, like regular matches, right? And bear in mind, I treated Tinder like Pokemon Go. It was just collecting them. I wasn't interested in going on dates with these psychopaths. Because they're all batshit crazy, right?
Yeah.
So like, but I was collecting, like, you know, I was like got to catch them all. Yeah. So then me, because I do like 90% of what I do is to amuse myself and nothing else, right? I mean, all of the output and productivity that I get out of my life is from like 10% out, you know, right? So I photoshopped my face onto a bunch of different movie screen stills, right? Like Conan the Barbarian, Han Solo, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic, like loads of them. But it was a very, I mean, I'll send you the pictures later. They were good. They were really fucking good. And I was super impressed with this. And I went to Mr. Whitehead and I was like, check this out. This is fucking awesome. If this doesn't get attention from the right kind of females, I don't know what will. Not a single fucking like. For weeks, not a single match.
Right. Yeah.
Well, good thing I don't give a shit about Tinder.
The greatest metric response, because I'm a data man. I look at this stuff. I do. And the ones that the times where it was just me looking sharp, looking, you know, jeans, tailored suit, whatever, smart shirt, whatever, or on holiday or with my dog, that sort of thing. Yeah, got a good response. And obviously a perfectly written out bio that took me 3 days to structure, all this stuff. Good response. When it was a topless pic, didn't even need a bio. Didn't even need a bio. I'm not judging. Like women, we're this is a natural response.
Shallow.
If it sparks a conversation, then awesome. And then we see who really is batshit crazy or not. But
all love dad bods. Of course you do.
Of course. Yeah.
You've all got posters of dad bods. Jeremy Clarkson on your wall when you're teenage girls, right? Or Matt Hack.
Yeah. On that one. So yeah, I'm a big believer. If that's what works for people, if it is the topless Tinder profile.
I feel like you've used the Tinder thing to kind of sort of segue away from the suggestion that there should be a photo shoot and actually,
I have definitely.
I'm gonna drag you back. I'm gonna be like Andrew Neil, Pierce Morgan. Simply not gonna refuse to accept anything other than that. Yeah. So what's the deal?
I think I definitely should book a shoot.
Yep.
Because the idea of now I have some friends and ex-colleagues, and like yourself, you guys compete. Mm-hmm. Is it something I could ever see myself doing? No, I'm way too short and way too small. Unless there's a kids division, I might get away with that.
Not with that hair.
So, no. So a shoot makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And to be fair, that can be promo material for marketing. That can go on the Tinder profile again. I think, yeah.
It's all gravy. Plus, when you get lean, then we can start bullying you about potentially competing.
Yeah.
Rob, look, you're only about 6 weeks away. You might as well.
Might as well. Yeah. True. I thrive on physical, not just physical, but I thrive on challenge. If I'm stagnating, if I've got nothing to chase, fucked, because that's where it all goes wrong. If I've got something to aim for, you can fucking damn sure I'm gonna chase.
Time frame.
You know it.
Give me a time frame. Come on.
Time frame. What are we on now? So I'm a conservative 8 weeks away from getting to where I would be happy, but that's not.
So
why should I be somewhere where I'm happy?
8 weeks away from where you need to be.
No, 8 weeks away from where I would have gone. Do you know what? This looks pretty good. I could stop here. That's not good. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. I need to go further this time.
Oh yeah.
Go further this time because I've only done 2 shoots, one solo and one team. And as I'm sure as many people do, I look at the solo shoot and go, weren't enough. I want a set of photos where I look and go, yeah, you can see in my eyes, I fucking went far enough there. That's what I want.
You want to go to the point where women no longer find you attractive and then wind back a little bit from there.
Yeah.
because the point at which you're no longer attractive is when you're really lean.
Sure.
But that's not marketable. It's certainly not going to get you any attention from the ladies. Let's put it that way.
But then I'll do 2 shoots. I will do the one where you go all the goddamn way,
and then you
say, I went there, and then another shoot where you fed up a little bit for a couple of weeks afterwards, and that's the marketable. The one where you've got the energy to smile. That's the one market. Yeah.
Everything functions normally.
Yeah.
You can walk and talk at the same time. All right, so we've got some tentative time frames here. I'm thinking probably 14 weeks to get you to Inside Out.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout.
You heard it here.
14 weeks.
You're committed to 14 weeks.
Can I do the maths on that? No, I can't do the maths on that.
You see, Rob, if you come at me and be like, yeah, when are we going to get you in shape, blah, 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 photo shoot, I'll be like, fuck off, got plans.
Here we are, 17th of June.
7th of June, that's perfect.
perfect.
That's taps half weather.
Oosh, that
Yeah.
is.
I know you're
Things
not.
should be open again. People should be out, should be happy.
Yeah.
Man,
You'll be able to.
17th.
You'll be able to spend the night and inappropriately touch anyone you want.
True. And be inappropriately touched, which I've never said no to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody complains when, well, people complain, and it is wrong. But yeah, we're not condoning any inappropriate behaviour.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. We'll get cancelled before we even start. It's like day one, cancelled.
That's it. That's going to be the new thing. Pre-cancelling. What was that? What was that terrible Tom Cruise film where they could arrest you for crimes you haven't even?
Oh, what's it called? Fuck. It was really bad.
It was really bad. It was back when you're like, Tom Cruise is terrible, and now he's the man. But
well, he's not.
For my demographic of guys under 5'8", he's our hero pretty much.
This was meant to be a Pomeranian, right? Pomeranians get as big as about 10 pounds. This thing's 23 pounds.
Jesus.
Right?
Jesus.
Not a Pomeranian. German Spitz. Took him to the vet when he was still smaller than this, right? And took him to the vet, and the vet was like doing the checkups with him, and he's like, "What did you say this was again?" And Victoria's like, "It's Pomeranian." He's like, "You sure?" "You sure?" And I was like, "Well, why?" He said, "Well, Pomeranians get up to about 10 pounds, and at that point in time, very much a puppy still, 17 pounds. So you're 7 pounds above Pomeranian." So we've got friends in the development that we live in that have Pomeranians, and they're literally half the size.
Jesus.
He gets next to him, he's like an Uber Pom. So,
what is he then?
When people ask what it is now, I don't even bother telling them. I'm just like, it's like, because I've been saying it's a German Spitz. Like, it's not a Pomeranian, it's a German Spitz. And now I'm like, it's a mega Pom. He's looking at it and going, "Is he full of shit?" I just
that is what it is.
Yeah.
Look at it. Yeah.
Why are you questioning me? My dog can identify as whatever it wants.
There you go. And we're being cancelled again.
Oh yeah, it's fun being cancelled, I think. I mean, not sure how Piers Morgan feels right now, but I'm pretty sure he's going to come out on top.
I'd like to think that, yeah, this is not a defeat by any stretch for him.
But we're not going to talk about that.
No, because people talk about that too much. Their focus is on
bollocks.
Yeah, no effect on their actual life.
Who cares? All the people that bitch and whinge and complain about these things on social media and elsewhere, you should probably pay a bit more attention to their own lives. Focus on their own shit.
Yes, couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So when is the hair transplant taking place? When's the trip to Turkey?
Do you know what happened? So this is what happened. It was obviously full lockdown hair. It was ridiculous, and I was like, things are going to open up again soon.
Look at this.
It was longer than that, but thinner and wavier. It was weird. Like, if I went out in the wind, it was impossible to keep any sort of resemblance of style or anything like that. It just looked ridiculous. I was constantly wearing hats, and I don't wear hats. But
I'm like a budget Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
it's terrible. It was awful. I cannot wait for the barbers to be reopened.
Fresh trim. It's such a good feeling. So that's what I thought I would do. I'll trim it down. I'll play it safe. I watched a bunch of YouTube vids, and I know people that cocked it up during lockdown. I was like, I'm not going to be that guy that cocks it up. I had it looking, 45 minutes later, I had it looking so good. Everything was level. Everything was cut down nicely. I had a sick fade going on. It looked incredible. Then I got the phone out and just did a zoom over the top to make sure I haven't cocked up anywhere. And it was so thin that it looked like a 14th century monk was like, how long have I been walking around like this? This is embarrassing. So
The comb.
everything went over. Everything. That was it. The shame of thinking that I've been doing a comb over for months and not realizing. Mate, that was it. Straight off. Straight off.
You should have grown it out completely. Just gone the full like Michael Bolton. You know.
Could have. Yeah. I mean, like this is not for life. This is just for now. We will.
Because you're going to end up going to Turkey and having it.
I think
guy I used to work with, right?
Transplant and a photo shoot is coming. Those two things coming.
So I work with a guy, or I work alongside a guy, Luke, and Luke Granger. He'll hopefully he'll see this, right? Now Granger very open about the fact that he'd gone to Turkey and he'd had a hair transplant, and a couple of years later he's like, I'm going back, I'm going to have another one, right? And so everybody knew about that. So he has the head shaved down and everything, and he comes back and he's got like these big patches where they've pulled hair out, and it looks terrible, right? It looks painful.
Yeah.
But you know what? They've put a whole bunch of hair on his head. Now I had him bend forward and I took a photograph, and they put hair into a triangular patch and missed a bit behind it, right? He was like, you photoshopped that. If only I was that good at Photoshop. Like I wish. Over it. So So I don't know if the hair transplant thing is a good idea. I think it's a lot of discomfort for something like.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before offline. My dad, when he was alive, he used to always try and make fun of me and suggest I was going to go bald. Now he went bald when he was 16. Samir comes on every now and again when we do live calls and talks about my hairline. He's got no feet, he's got no legs to stand on that front, right? He's like Doc Emmett Brown. But my hairline hasn't changed in years. I mean, it's got a little bit more kind of widow's peaky, but I can live with looking like Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Who can?
Yeah. Of course.
Like, absolutely. Dracula.
There you go.
The best Dracula.
Come on, man.
No bothers. But my dad always used to say, like, you're going to go bald, you're going to go bald, you're going to go bald. And I always had the same response. Yeah, if I do, I'm just going to shave my head and I'll look good regardless, because I don't. Yeah. It's how you wear it, it's how you own it, right? Attitude is huge in this sort of thing. So, yeah, I think you should just own it. But I actually genuinely, like, this is a genuine opinion. I genuinely think you're jumping far too soon here. I think.
Well, yeah, maybe.
You've been a bit paranoid and you've jumped way before you needed to.
Considering it was an act of anger and aggression based on what the video revealed, I probably could have waited until professionals are open and they could have styled it the right way, that there was no issue, because I've never noticed that before. I'm certain when guys have been cutting my hair before and they do the old mirror, I'm sure they're not ducking around that, so I can't see it.
My take on it is this, right? I can't see the back of my head. I don't give a shit. Simple as that.
Sure. So, that was my downfall, is becoming aware.
Let's be honest, right? Unless the dynamic changes in your relationship, your other half isn't looking at the back of your head that much either.
Could be the most accurate thing I've ever. Yeah. My God. Incredible.
There you go.
True.
So, yeah. But no, I think you jumped too soon. But it's not a bad look. I think you should probably take it.
Right. The good thing is, from the age of, you say jumping too soon, from the age of 12 to 28, I was a skinhead. I refused to grow my hair. I would bick it right down. So I knew that my head wasn't too weirdly shaped, thank God. So there was no panic in taking it all off again.
So you went through a white supremacist stage.
Pretty much.
And then you reined it back in.
pretty much. It was the scene, not the act of the scene, but the scene in American History X where Norton stood out in the road, topless in white boxers, looking awesome, looking thick.
Let's just come back to that, right? How
Forget the act he had just inflicted on that poor guy.
Never mind that, right? Edward Norton is in ridiculously good shape in that movie, but in no other movie you've ever seen him in.
No.
Look at him in Fight Club.
It's crazy. I can't believe that there is a guy out there who got in that shape. And yes, for Fight Club and other roles, he had to lose it all. But who, when he's not working, doesn't go, Joe, what, I'm going to look like that again. I can't.
That's kind of where you want to be, right?
Yeah. I don't get that mindset. Unhinged.
Oh, dear God. You never grown it long? Like proper long?
Tried, but got two. I haven't got the patience.
You have to go through the phase where you look shit. You look really shit.
I couldn't force myself through that.
It's pretty much from where I am now for another year. Yeah. It takes about a year to get to a decent length.
Nice that the beard has sprung back very quickly. Very quickly.
It's not a beard yet, Rob.
Not yet.
It's only a beard after it hits 12 weeks, 3 months. It's 3 months old for it to be classed as a beard. Up until that point, this is just stubble.
And how long have we got? What's the time frame with that?
I think we're in week 4 right now.
Crikey.
So, pretty sure. Like I did that live call with Simon, and that was the day I'd shaved it off, and he was the day after I shaved it off, and he was horrified. So it wasn't that long ago. What have you done? Don't worry about it. I'll be back in a couple of weeks. No big deal. I like to cut a finger off. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not cutting anything. I'm not cutting like a limb off or an appendage. It's a beard. It grows back really quickly, like ridiculously quickly. So, but do you know what? The second I shaved it off, I was like, oh man, I miss it. I did the same thing when I grew my hair. I grew my hair down to like just past my shoulders, and it was very Led Zeppelin-esque. It's got a bit of a natural wave to it, like very Jimmy Plant, and what's it called? Jimmy Page. Sorry, not Plant. Very Jimmy Page, and I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. I got so much attention for it as well from men and women. Like everybody wanted to stroke it, and it was lustrous. And then one day I was out snowboarding, and I used to obviously do that at a pretty decent level, and I had quite a big jump and spun off the jump, and it wrapped around my goggles, and so I was completely blind. And I was like, I managed to sort of land on my feet right away and scraped it off my face, and I literally rode all the way to the bottom of the mountain, jumped on the bus back to my apartment, went into my apartment, straight into my buddy's place that shaved his head daily, grabbed his electric razor. I was like, I'm borrowing this. Shaved a lot off.
Wow.
Yes, I feel good. Something's not right. Miss it. Instantly.
Instant regret. Yeah.
It's one thing cutting a couple of inches off your hair. It's another thing cutting like 12 to 14 inches off your hair. You're like, shit. I made a mistake. But, you know, sometimes we do these impulsive, rage-induced things, like evidenced by Rob's current situation.
There we go. Can always reverse it. Well, within reason, but can always reverse it.
Exactly. So, we have a tentative time frame for Rob doing a photo shoot. We've ranted about Boris's bullshit. We've possibly been cancelled more than once. I think that's enough for one day.
The range of gastric bands to Tinder. We've done well.
This has been a good
hairstyle. That's a good
first episode. I mean, at some point, eventually, if we're professional enough, we might get some guests on, other than just you and I, or you and I, and whoever else we get involved. But I've got some tentative names. We'll wait and see how these are received first, I did reach out to John Bond, and he was into it, but that might change after he watches the two of us morons chat shit. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Rob, awesome. Looking forward to the next one. We'll maybe have a bit more of an agenda next time.
Yeah, maybe.
Slightly more professional, slightly less professional at the same time. You know, marginally. Let's just try and skirt that line between politically correct and fuck you.
Yes, of course.
All right, wicked. And on that note, done.
Well, sweet.